Alright, well, today's plans got a little canceled, got a little messed up. Mother Nature didn't want to play nice, so I'm going to take you guys out for a high school soccer game, show you how I do it, show what to expect, how to deal with it when you don't have all the expensive gear. Mother Nature stepped in, storm came in, lightning, they canceled the games, everything cut loose. So basically, I'm just going to make you guys a quick video on shooting soccer, what you need to worry about shooting high school, shooting prep, shooting soccer higher than just the youth. Give you guys a few tips and how I do it, positioning, gear, settings, all that different stuff on what to look for. Alright, so the first thing we want to go over is just your quick camera settings. Nothing really fancy. I don't get too fancy. Most soccer in my area is played during the day, so you don't have to worry about the night settings. You don't have to worry about shooting with the high ISO. If where you are, your region, wherever you are, if soccer's played at night, settings are going to be a little bit different. You want to bring your ISOs up higher and be able to get that light in. Bring your aperture down, bring your ISO up, get that. So basically, around here, soccer's played during the day. When I'm out there, my basic camera settings for high school, sometimes I'll shoot manual, sometimes I'll shoot shutter priority. ISO always in auto, just for the fact that some of these stadiums have some shadows on the field, and it might change the ISO just a little bit, but not a lot to worry about. So I'll shoot at minimum of 1,000, 1/1000th on my shutter speed, if not 1/1250 on my shutter speed, just to freeze that action, because some of those players are fast, some of that ball's moving fast. Put my ISO in auto if I need to. If it's just jumping around way too much because of little shadows, I'll jump to 100 or 200 just so it stays locked in. And then my aperture, if I'm running shutter priority, I'll let it just take care of itself. If I'm in manual, I go to the lowest I possibly can. Get it down with my Sigma 70 to 200. I'll put it down 2.8, low as it'll go, just to blur that background, focus on the actual shot I want focused on. So those settings should be all that you really need to worry about. Your ISO in auto, your aperture as low as you can get it, and your shutter speed. Jump it up, heck, if you want to, jump it up to 1/1600, jump it up to 1/2000. Freeze it if that's what you need to do. I don't know how fast the players are in your area. In my area, they're pretty quick. 1250, perfect. Those camera settings will work great. You'll get those shots you need. You get the shots you want. You freeze the action. Everything's going to look good. Alright, so for your gear, you're going to need your camera. The 70 to 200 lens is your minimum when it comes to soccer, and it might even be a little bit short. Soccer fields are big, action is all over the place. A lot of times you can't anticipate it. So 70 to 200 can get a little short. You'll have to crop a lot of pictures. The more you crop that in, the more it's going to degrade that photo. You don't really want to have to do that. And with the 70 to 200, you're going to be limited kind of to your side of the field and not the other side of the field. If you have the ability, if you have the money, if you have it in your arsenal, 100 to 400 millimeters, 200 to 600 millimeters should handle pretty much everything you want. And if you have a second camera where you can keep the 70 to 200 kind of on your hip, ready to go for when the action gets close to you, and the 200 is just not going to get that far back, so you can get those close-up shots when they're right in your face, you can easily switch to the 70 to 200 if you have that ability. I know a lot of photographers just starting out don't have that, so if you don't have the second camera, all you have is the 70 to 200, you can still get it done. You're just going to be limited on how much you can see out there. With me, in this area, soccer is played in the day, sun's up, winter hasn't kicked in yet, fall hasn't really kicked in yet, it's hot. I always have a hat, I always have sunscreen. You'll see a lot of people out there that shoot soccer that bring a chair with them. I'm not one of them. I like to keep moving up and down the sideline as the players move, the ball moves from end to end. If I can move up and down the field faster without having to move a chair with me, then it just makes it that much easier for me. A lot of people they'll post up on a chair, they'll post up in a specific position and wait for action to come to them. Not really how I do it. I don't knock them for doing it. They get great shots. Everything looks good. But I don't carry the little chairs, little folding chairs, the little bleacher chairs, nothing like that. I don't carry it. Monopods, people use monopods. I don't particularly use monopods for soccer just because I feel it gets in my way because I move up and down the field from midfield to the goal line, back and forth, just to stay with the action, and the monopod kind of gets in my way. Monopod can be great to take that weight of the bigger lenses off of you and stabilize your camera as the soccer game goes on and that lens starts to get heavy and you start to get the shakes. Monopod if you need it. I personally don't use it. I'll carry it, but I don't typically use it unless I'm going to post up. And now for the big part when it comes to shooting soccer, positioning. Positioning is going to get you the shot you want, or bad positioning is going to get you to miss that shot that you wish you could have got. So for me, typically, is I will start opposite the benches, because in soccer, both teams line up on the same side, their benches are on the same side, there's one sideline for the teams. I typically will stay off of that sideline so I can get shots of the players, shots of the benches, the changes in and out, the reactions, the coaches. That puts me on the other side of the field, so I don't have to try to angle those shots. I can get straight on shots. So the beginning of a game, I'll usually start somewhere around midfield depending on which team I'm there for. Then as the game moves on, I will move to either side. If I'm for a specific team, I will typically move to their offensive zone in the beginning of the game, just because they're going to be fresh. They're going to be on the attack. They're going to be wanting to make those moves while they're still fresh, while they're not tired, while they're ready for the attack. So I'll move down the field, usually lined up with the goal box, and then move down towards the goal kick flag, the goal kick corner. And then if they're taking a lot of shots, or it seems like they're getting into position to take a lot of shots, I may move behind the actual goal line so I can get those face-on shots. And then I'll switch back and forth, but I'll typically stay in that area from right about the goal box all the way around to about halfway down the goal line to the goal. As the game goes on, you're going to start to see, is the team you're there for dominating, or are they getting dominated? That's where it's going to kind of switch up on you, because if you're there for a team that's getting just dominated on the field, you're going to want to move back to midfield or just halfway between the goal and midfield in their defensive zone, so you can get more of the players, you get more defensive action, you can get shots that the rest of the team's going to want to see. You'll get the defensive players, and from that spot, you can usually get good shots of the goalie if he's taking shots. If shots are getting fired at him, hopefully you can get those action shots that you're looking for with the goalie, making saves, getting scored on, which he's not going to like, diving, whatever it is. Another thing you want to remember when shooting soccer, reaction. Just like with any other sport, you're going to get reactions, great saves, good plays, a goal. Difference with soccer is you're going to get bigger reaction. It's not like in football where teams are scoring 5 touchdowns a game, 6 touchdowns a game. 1 to 2 goals, 3 goals in a game is a lot. That's an exciting moment when that player scores. Watch the benches, watch the players, watch the stands, watch the reactions. Get those celebrations on those shots. The teams will love it. They'll look really good in your portfolio. It helps tell that story that you're not just watching the game for the action, you're getting the rest of the stuff to go with it. And that's what you want to make sure is part of what you deliver to a client if you're being hired for that. It just adds so much more to what they're getting than just the players. Another thing to remember is get warm up. If you need to get those goalie shots, you might not get them in the game, especially if the team you're there to photograph is dominating another team. You're probably not going to get any great shots of the goalie in action. If you can get those in warm-ups, get them. Get players taking shots in warm-up. Get them while they're working out, while they're stretching, whatever it's doing. The one thing I have found is walk out onto the field during warm-up. Consider it, you can be there until somebody tells you you can't. Don't get in their way. Don't cause an issue. Stay out of the team's way. And I am almost guarantee you that nobody is going to ask you to step off the field during warm-up. As long as you are not in the way, you should be good. Get those warm-up pictures to add to it even for players that don't get a lot of play time or might not get any play time. They're going to see action in warm-up. Goalies, most teams have 2 to 3 goalies. You're going to get the backups in warm-ups. Backups want to see their action shots too. So get your warm-ups, get the whole team together as much as you can instead of just on the bench with their star. All right, so those are my tips on shooting high school soccer, prep soccer. It's a little different when you get into the little kids soccer. I have a video for that. I'm going to put it up. It gets a little bit less stressful when you're dealing with the kids playing soccer. You know, your 5 to 10-year-old. It's not as stressful. It's not as exciting, but it can be fun to do just because watching the kids do their best and play is great to watch. Field is smaller. It's easier with a shorter lens like the 70 to 200, and parents love to get their little kids action shots looking great, awesome stuff. It's perfect. So those are my tips. If any of it helped, let me know in the comments. Appreciate any advice you can give on what you're looking for and how I can help you take those better sports pictures. We will see you guys in the next one.